and welcome to a video lecture on how do I read this essay assignment. Every semester, students get confused and I get a lot of questions about what am I supposed to be writing on and what does this word prompt mean. So I'm looking at your module for the upcoming week, and you will begin by reading the information for week 4, and then you will move on to this video. How do I read this essay assignment? First, it's important to read the essay assignment all the way through once. Every teacher is different, and the one thing that you will see over and over again in college is an essay type prompt, whether it be for social sciences, humanities, a literature class, even a science class. You will be writing a lot of essays. This is how you should read my particular essay prompts. Because I am an English teacher, I do tend to try to give you a lot of information. So this first section here, Essay 1 Assignment Introduction, usually gives you a reminder of things you've done. So far in this module, we have done these readings, we have done these textual analyses of FemAds, we have shared our ideas in group, we have worked on analyzing using the rhetorical triangle. And then I have what I would call is a thinking question. Consider these two things, okay? Consider this idea. And if you agree with this idea, you're going to choose option A. If you disagree with this idea, you're going to choose option B. But regardless of options, you have to yourself select a femvertisement that you want to analyze, that you want to use as the basis for not only your argument thesis, but for your argument paper. And to this femvertisement, you will address facts and support and discuss evidence as you have practiced identifying in the 3 articles that you read for this particular assignment. Here's the important thing about essays. They're called prompts. So this is an essay prompt. And prompt here is a noun. It means do this, okay? You're being prompted to do something. That's the verb form. But the prompt itself is this. So as you are writing your essay and as you are first constructing your thesis and initially choosing which of the FemAds you're going to write on, and I've given you a short list of choices, options students have used previously, you want to, you want to focus on the or. You're not doing both things. You are only doing one of these two things. The first choice is what I call the positive choice. So create an argument thesis that your femvertisement that you select tells an authentic story with an appropriate use of rhetorical appeals. What does that mean? Well, we learned from Greenfield, and we've learned from all of our writers, Badiou, Iqbal, and Feynman, that an authentic story is one that furthers a feminist idea in a positive way, such as we see in the Always Like a Girl ad, for example. An appropriate use of rhetorical appeals means that the femvertisement is balanced. We have pathos, of course, emotional appeals to nurture in the same Always Like a Girl ad, emotional appeals to protect, to love and affection, and emotional appeals to belong, to be part of the group that fixes these inequities in our society. But we also have logos, the idea represented in the Verizon ad that girls lose their interest in science after about 4th grade. This is a bad thing. This is a fact, a statistic. It appeals to our reason. And in ads like the Misty Copeland ad, we have ethos, credibility, because the ad isn't just selling us this general idea under I will what I want. It is giving us a credible example from a real person who defeated the naysayers and succeeded. So that is an explanation of the essay prompt for option 1. Option 2 is the opposite. It is I like to call this the shredding option. Create an argument thesis that your femvertisement that you choose is exploiting rhetorical appeals, ethos, pathos, logos, and feminism just to sell stuff. A good example of this that students have talked about is the Pantene sorry not sorry ad. So nobody can figure out what having good hair has to do with gaining the confidence to tell somebody to go off themselves. Okay? Here, the femvertisement is really jumping on that bandwagon of appealing to women, but the primary goal is very obvious in that it is selling a small feminist idea, like women say sorry more often than men, in order to sell products. It is true, all advertisement is meant to sell products, but an exploitive femvertisement, and there are lots of them out there, by the way, an exploitive one abuses its goals or purposes, or the goals and definitions and purposes of femvertisements as they have been outlined for us by Nina Badahewer, in order to primarily sell product. It's a matter of emphasis. Okay? Often too in those femvertisements we don't have real women being used. You will notice in the Pantene ad all the women are still very beautiful and they all have good hair. There are lots of other interesting things to notice about that ad, but I will leave that for you to do. So the essay prompt is the focus, and then you move on to the rubric. For papers 1, paper 2, I don't have a checked off rubric. I do line comments for you because both of those essays are revisable and you are still learning how to write the essays. For the midterm and the final, and for the longer research essay, there will be an embedded rubric that I will have marked off things and items for you. But I want to remind you that your essay must include means these things are required just to have a passing paper. So in order to get a C minus, which is a 70%, all of these goals have to be met. And you can read through them at your leisure. All right? The schedule of the dates, excuse me again. The schedule of dates is an itemization of when things are due. So you do have a draft coming up. A draft is not a full essay, but it is a professor-ready couple of pages showing that you have begun the drafting process. You do need to figure out how you're going to use the feedback I give you to improve your essay. You have a discussion group assignment where you will be sharing those plans for revisions with your group and then responding to your peers' revision plans. Then lastly, you have an end date for using Turnitin on the essay assignment, which is the day before the paper is due in its final form. And I remind you of things like short essays will be docked, late essays will have grade reductions, and essays that are later than 2 days will not have the option to be revised. So if you have questions about any aspect of an assignment sheet, it is very important that you ask them right up front. I always suggest you read the essay assignment through a couple of times before you get started with the constructing, which is our next video.